Hey, what's up, friends? I'll try this one more time. I've been trying to record some comments, rambly comments about Linux Fest, but it wasn't working before because, I don't know, words are hard. I have to be in the right zone, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so I just wanted to ramble for a minute about the goodness that is Linux Fest, because I ran away from all of my responsibilities this weekend, went up to Linux Fest. It was a pretty fun time. So it's up in Bellingham, Washington. There's stuff on the internet. They are gradually adding more and more videos of the different talks that are on there, or that they did this weekend. So they're putting those on the YouTube channel. Their website is lfnw.org. So that's cool. There were a bunch of overlapping talks that I really wanted to go to, multiple ones that were all happening at the same time, and with my one lame single physical incarnation, I could only go to one at a time. So I'm gonna be able to catch up. I've started catching up on some of the others because there were a lot of interesting things going on. I really appreciated the combo of just availability, like the range of availability that they present. So they had like an intro thing. If you've never tried Linux, you can go to their little intro tutorial place and go just like install it or try it out or whatever for people who are totally new to it all. And then there were also lots of like super advanced workshops that were above my head, and then lots of in-between stuff because I'm, you know, pretty middleweight, lightweight. You know, I've been using Linux for 7 years now, which is a few minutes, you know, but I'm still a pretty lightweight in terms of the technical stuff, you know what I mean? I'm not a kernel developer or anything like really serious, obviously. Yeah, I'm in it for the philosophy, really. The free software philosophy, I'm pretty into. Anyway, no, I went to see Martin Wimpress doing snaps and Snapcraft for Ubuntu and for other distros. I'm gonna have to try installing snaps on some other distros because I didn't know. I kind of thought that was an Ubuntu only thing. Shows what I know. That was incorrect. There were multiple. I went to thing on Linux gaming just for fun. I was trying to go to one workshop, and then I accidentally went into the wrong room, and then I was 1 minute late, so I didn't want to get up and leave again because I didn't want to be a super giant jerk. But then I was really glad that I was there because it was one of the Electronic Frontier Foundation dudes talking about their Let's Encrypt project and like how they had to deprecate an old thing and bring in a new thing. And I would like to be better at like website administration stuff for my own websites. And because I'm not a programmer, but I, you know, do some just basic website stuff, and I should understand, you know, HTTPS and encryption and all that good stuff better. Yeah, you know, there was so much. Anyway, and then I also abandoned seriousness and went to see Brian Lunduke, who's ridiculous, and Linux Gamer, and it was really fun. I enjoy just the silly, nerdy humor. So Lunduke does like to poke fun at people for no reason, but also it's, you know, it's good-natured, and so I had a fun time, and went to the off-topical thing with Gardner, and that was a great time. It was all fun. So yeah, I have to say the community, I really would love to see more events like this, and just this energy, the general community energy of the whole event was just so cozy and comfortable, and I really liked it. It was totally an introvert's wonderland. It's a little bit hilarious. I'm an introvert, you know, I like people, but I'm, you know, I kind of keep to my own little self until I have a clear, you know, outlet or like an obvious moment to like talk to people and interact more. And that was definitely, I felt like that was kind of the feeling that everybody had, or at least the majority of folks, because everybody was super friendly, super polite, but everybody's kind of in their own little spaces. It just feels like that. But that makes it all feel very just safe and comfortable. And even though, like, I didn't know anybody, I just went because I felt like it. And it was great. But I definitely didn't show up with my own little posse, you know. I don't know anybody else who shares this interest in my, like, IRL, you know, in my actual life. My husband is great, but he's a gamer nerd, and he does not care about Linux. He just wants what's going to run his games, and that's fine. And someday maybe I'll get him to see that Linux is a better way, but whatever, you know, our relationship, it doesn't hinge on that, obviously, and that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, so I appreciated just the general accepting vibe that anybody could just show up, participate. I definitely didn't interact with a lot of people all day Saturday until I wound up at the little party. I had an evening party hangout / trivia game night on Saturday night. And so then I wound up at a table with other stragglers. You know, some people clearly had their whole groups there. And then I wound up at a stragglers table, which was great. And then I started talking to everybody there, and they were fantastic and so nice. And we tied for 4th. If I could have remembered that Khal Drogo spoke Dothraki, which was like somewhere deep in my memory banks, but I didn't have it. I didn't have it. Sorry, Game of Thrones people. I'm pretty sure we were the only table in that whole joint where no one there had like ever seen more than 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. So we failed in that department, but that's okay. We still tied for 4th, so I feel like we did okay. We held our own. I wasn't too disappointed with our showing there. Pardon me, gotta have your mate. Yeah, what else was I gonna talk about? Yeah, just the general community vibe and general friendliness of the whole thing and accessibility of the whole thing, I think was great. Meaning, like I said, there were talks there for new and advanced users alike, and we could use a little more diversity. You know, could have used more ladies. Definitely dude centric, dude heavy, which doesn't bother me. It's fine, but you know, the philosophy of free software and open source and stuff like that is to be more egalitarian, you know, more accessible and open for all people of all walks of life and all persuasions and stuff like that. And so I feel like it's going to be a good sign for, I don't know, it's like the more prevalent that computer philosophy becomes, the more we should have a wider cross-section of all, like, demographics, you know, ages, genders, ethnicities, like all the things. Anyway, that doesn't mean wasn't a super great time, and so that's fine. But I would like to see more of that. I missed the women in cybersecurity talk. I'm a little ashamed. I'm pretty sad. I gotta catch that one on the internet, on the YouTube, because that's super cool. I still feel like we need like a Linux nerd ladies club. If I come across that, I would be all over it, because that would be really fun. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just fun to talk about nerd stuff. And yeah, and you know, not feel like too much of a weirdo. But whatever, I'm a weirdo, it's fine. It just doesn't bother me. Yeah, let's see. What else was I gonna talk about? Yeah, I went to some conversations about gaming, which isn't even my thing. I'm not actually a gamer. I enjoy playing the odd, turn-based strategy game. I'm really terrible at the little boodly twiddle stuff. Not my specialty. I die really fast. But I kind of am interested in, mostly just for Linux acceptance, I'm interested in the, all the new, you know, Proton and Lutris and all these different, like, gaming porting things through Steam and stuff that are just making things more accessible for all platforms. And so the more games that, even if it's not native, the more games that folks can play on Linux, I think it's fantastic. So I want to see more of that. I started doing my experiment where I log into my dude's Steam account and see how many of the games that I can play on there. And first experiment, Cave Story, success. Perfect success. Granted, that's like a super old game, so it's hardly the most resource intensive, or it's not using any fancy graphics cards or any of that nonsense. But that's fine. It's a start. I think I enjoy the technical challenge, which is ridiculous. But I don't know, classic software twiddling person, because it's fun to twiddle with software. I don't know why, it just is. Not everybody would agree with me about that, probably. I've told a lot of people over the years that I think it's fun to install operating systems. I don't think I've ever met anybody who was like, yes, that is really fun. But that's okay. That's fine. Okay. Yes. I didn't win any prizes. I did not win any. There was a raffle. Didn't win. The dude who won was the dude from my trivia table, fellow team member who had a whole strategy, and he did it right, and then he took away the grand prize, the NAS server, and I was like, what are you going to do with your new NAS server? And he was like, well, I'm going to upgrade my old NAS server that's like 8 years old. So I feel like it went to a deserving man. I feel like that he was interested in like preservation, like historical preservation, and keeping backups of operating systems and like serious archiving. So like obviously I wanted the NAS server, but it has a good home. Anyway, I like stickers. So mostly I like not promoting brands that I don't believe in. Like this is my netbook. It has a little Dell sticker underneath my new this one, my Linux Fest Northwest on it. Mostly I don't like to cover my laptops with a million stickers especially, but if I'm gonna have them out in the world, I don't want them to be promoting stuff I don't believe in. Hush pup. Olaf says things. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm glad to have something Linux related, so I'm at least promoting stuff I do believe in and I do want to support. And that's cool. I also got a pair of Linux Academy socks. They were giving away promotional socks, which I 100% support. As of my last birthday, last fall, I decided I was only going to wear Halloween socks and anime socks. So I got some sweet Halloween and anime themed socks, and that's what I wear now. That's 100% true, and it makes my life better. So I'm gonna add some Linux socks into that mix, which is a good time. Yeah. So my takeaways are, there's some fun stuff to try. I went to a talk by a dude from Freedom Box, which I have not yet explored, but it looks really interesting. I'm gonna see if I can experiment with that, and in terms of setting up my own, maybe I shouldn't even talk about it because I don't fully know how it would be implemented and stuff like that, but how it interacts with things like SyncThing that I already do use. But I really like the whole controlling my own data thing, so I want to try that out. I might take an old laptop, maybe that one, maybe my old MacBook, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm interested in taking some device that I have lying around, not going out and buying anything fancy, but just taking something that I already have and converting that into my own little local server so I can use that to shuffle files back and forth, because I've always got my laptop, and I got my desktop, and I got my little tablet thingy, and I got my phone, and so then just shuffling data back and forth, photos especially, so that I know everything's backed up, but then it's not getting over full, because when I have the same photo in like 3 different places, but then I don't want to delete it because I want to make sure I have it archived properly, all that just lame stuff. So I'm interested in playing with better syncing services and backups and all that kind of trash. So I'm hoping the Freedom Box thing can help me with that. Although maybe SyncThing will turn out to be all I need, which is, yeah, already what I use, and I just try to make sure everything has a chance to update, because that works pretty well, actually. I guess the difference would be having a dedicated server, even if that server is just an old laptop that's not anything particularly special. So, anyway, so definitely multiple of the talks I wound up with were Free Software Foundation type talks, as well as Electronic Frontier Foundation, and there's some interesting stuff in there. I might need to join both of these organizations because they're doing cool stuff. I do feel motivated to. I have MX Linux on my super old netbook. It's a 32-bit one because it's, what is it? I think it's from about 2010. It's pretty old. I love it. It's super great. But I think I'm gonna try again to install Triskel operating system, because I don't need it to run MP3s or play Netflix or whatever. I actually do enjoy using that little computer for writing, because it's low power, it doesn't do much, but it's kind of a nice little like coffee shop writing machine. But I'd like to see if I can go up a step and get it to an all free software Linux distro, which it runs well with Debian based distros. I've had the best luck on those, Debian rather than Ubuntu. It just seems to run a lot faster. And so anyway, that's my next plan, next strategy for trying to up my, just do the next bit. I think that's the main stuff. I really support get-togethers like this. Another one of my takeaways is to see if there's like Linux user groups. I think that there is one in my area, and I have to see if I can track down a meeting and start going to those, just because it's fun to compare notes. Especially because this is not my job. This is just a fun time, and so then I feel a little bit isolated in my nerdiness, since, like I said, there's not other folks in my day-to-day life that's into this stuff. So it'd be fun to go to some just little meetings to talk about nerd stuff, support each other in our little nerdy ways, and yeah, because the more community, I mean, that's a whole different tirade, but in these days of Facebook and social media and all that whatnot, more community isn't the default. It's very easy to be pretty isolated and not have enough connection with other people on their interests, especially if you're nerdy, introverted style person. Then it's that much easier to kind of stay in our little corners, which is not, even for introverts, that's not the best thing, I think that's about it. So, yeah, go forth and hang out with your nerd friends, and there you go. Have a good afternoon. Catch you later.